It is shown at the start of the movie that parasites, a mysterious type of alien, are making their way to the city from the sea. Then a sleeping man is in his room. One of the parasites crawls into his ear. Despite feeling irritated, the man goes back to sleep to calm himself. Shinichi, a young boy, appears on the scene. He is listening to music at night, wearing headphones. The parasite tries to enter his ear, but it is unable to. Shinichi feels an itching sensation and assumes it's an insect when it moves to his nose. He tries to throw it away, but ends up crushing it as he tries to pick it up. Then that parasite comes on his hand's skin after he cuts it. His mother also arrives at the same time. He exclaims, "Look! My hand has become infected." His hand has no trouble when his mother checks it. The next morning, it is shown that Shinichi feels some irritation in his hand when he is at the dining table. Then a man is shown whose ear was infested. He stands in front of his wife. He opens his monstrous mouth, which was too horrific, and he engulfs his wife's face through his monstrous mouth. And it was happening due to that parasite. Then Shinichi comes on the scene and meets his friend on the way to school. She observes his mysterious actions. When he reaches school, something unusual is happening with him. As his right hand gained much strength, he comes to his house and tries to bruise his hand. But his hand mysteriously defends itself while stopping him. Then it is shown that his hand has transformed into a parasite, and it was communicating with Shinichi. Further, it is shown that it was not only used to read Shinichi's books but also to use his laptop, because it was interested in human beings' ways of living. Shinichi had stopped it from going ahead when it tried to enter his body. So it had only infected the right hand and was handling this hand. It declares its name Migi. And it requests, "Never cut me off. I will not harm you because you are my entertainer." It appears now that Shinichi and Migi are creating a friendship bond. But all the people infected by parasites were creating havoc throughout the city. They were quenching their appetite after killing human beings. Contrarily, Migi drags Shinichi to a hotel where many parasites are eating the flesh of human beings. They misunderstand, as Shinichi is also infected, so they offer the flesh. However, they proceed to decapitate him despite the fact that he is still human and not totally contaminated. But Migi defends Shinichi, attacking them, because it could also die with the death of Shinichi. So he had acted for himself. News is broadcast that natives are being killed, and no one is able to know about the killer, because parasites were carrying it out tactfully and covertly. Shinichi says to Migi, "Why do you not restrict your companion parasites from eating human beings?" Then Migi replies, "You also eat vegetables and other types of animals. In the same way, our food is humans. So what is wrong with it?" Migi used to sense the type of parasite and its surroundings. Going to school tells Shinichi that there is another parasite near him. It was nothing else but his teacher. Witnessing Shinichi, that teacher knows that he is infected. But she says that there is no need to be afraid of me, because I don't want to harm human beings. Rather, I am knowing human beings' ways of life so their attributes may always remain in me. It leads him to two more parasites, including a police officer and a student. It says, "This police officer is my spouse, and we are expecting a baby. And that baby will be a human being. And we also want to lead our lives like humans. We will not put anyone to death in public because it is unharmful. But we want to eat in private. Will you be a part of our group?" But Migi disagrees. The next day, the same police officer comes to them. Then Migi reveals Shinichi, "He has come to kill us." Because he had detected that we had ended up with a parasite in a hotel on the day. Meanwhile, a police officer attacks him. Migi and Shinichi fight with him. At last, he kills him. Coming into the house, Shinichi was feeling guilty because he had taken a life. Contrarily, it is shown that parasites move to another human's body, coming out of a police officer's body. It was not anyone else but Shinichi's mother. And she was proceeding to Shinichi to kill him. Migi exposes Shinichi, "She intends to kill you." Shinichi says to it, "Be careful. If you say something about my mother." Because he had a cordial association with his mother. He never wanted to lose his mother. At first sight, his mother's face also transforms into the parasite, like other parasites. And she attacks Shinichi. He is nearly going to die because of his waste of blood. The next morning, it is shown that he has restored himself. Migi says, "You were badly injured, but I cured your wound with my cells." But the threatening thing was that Migi's cells had transferred into Shinichi. He was under an infection completely. Now Shinichi begins to search for his mother. But he finds her nowhere. Then he asks about the police officer, going to the teacher. But the teacher also does not reveal anything. Migi tells him, "I will have to sleep 4 hours a day. At that time, you will have to fight alone because I will not protect you." With Migi's cells, the attributes of Migi had started to appear. Now it is seen that a student has transformed into a parasite. The student who was shown by the teacher he takes admission to the school of Shinichi. He pretends to be Shinichi's friend. With the passage of time, the reality is exposed to everyone, as he is a parasite. The student then murders everyone. He then proceeds to kill Shinichi's buddy. But Shinichi jumps off the building, taking his friend with him. That teacher approaches there and wants the death of that student. Because her secret may be revealed by that student. She explodes a bomb there but remains safe. The police approach there, but that student also stops the police. Migi tells Shinichi that a student is on the building roof. Going to another building's roof, kills him while shooting an arrow. Then he returns to the teacher and asks for the address of that police officer who was a parasite. The teacher tells him the location. The parasite of that police officer was still in his mother. But it is Migi's rest time. It means Shinichi had to fight alone here. Somehow, he cuts the throat of that parasite in order to end it. His mother and police officer are killed later. Then Shinichi is shown visiting the hospital to meet his friend. He is uttering that "I will kill all parasites one by one." Then it is shown that someone is taking their photos. And he was a spy. The movie part 1 is completed here. Now part 2 of this movie will be explained. Now, the time after a few months of that incident is shown in part 2. When military officers became aware that there were parasites in the city that were attacking humans, and they wanted to rescue them. So they release a serial killer from prison, who could detect the parasites in human beings. Human beings are presented before him one by one. Then he calls everyone human beings. But he becomes thoughtful as Shinichi appears before him. After much deliberation, he says that he is also human. Returning to the house, Migi tells Shinichi that there is a parasite within a little distance of us. They visit a nearby building where a parasite is eating the flesh of a human being. Noticing Shinichi, that parasite moves to Shinichi. But Migi puts it to death. Suddenly, Shinichi senses that someone is behind him. He was no one else but that person who had taken the photos of Migi and Shinichi at the end of part 1. Then the city mayor comes on the scene and speaks out in Parasite's favor. He was a devilish person. And that teacher had togetherness with him. Now it is shown that the teacher had given birth to a baby who was a human being. That mayor knew that Shinichi was killing parasites. He also wanted to end his life. But the teacher prohibits him. She says, "Migi and Shinichi belong to one body. I want to see how they get along with each other. By killing Shinichi, our parasite Migi will also no longer exist." So she sent that spy after Shinichi to keep an eye on him. While walking, one day, Shinichi again senses that someone is behind him. That spy suggests that while spying, you should reveal yourself to the police. But Shinichi says, "No, the police department is also full of many parasites." Shinichi comes to know here that the teacher has engaged a spy to pursue him. He says to the teacher going there, "What is being done by all of you? Why do you not cease it?" Then the teacher says to him, "Why are you killing our companion parasites? They are still learning how to eat human beings. After a time, they will stop killing them." He keeps quiet, and he reveals that he is going to spy. That teacher is a very menacing parasite. Beware. She may also harm you. But the spy does not trust him. The next day, spy meets that mayor. He wanted to confirm whether Shinichi was speaking the truth or not. So he sets up the audio tape in the mayor's room. Knowing about it, the mayor orders the assassination of a spy, saying, "He has become a threat for us." He sends a parasite to his house in order to kill the spy. They kill his daughter because he is not at home. Migi informs Shinichi, "5 parasites are coming to attack you." A man advances them. He is the amalgam of the 5 parasites. Migi and Shinichi explode their heads while fighting. They think he is dead. But there was only 1 parasite that had been killed. The other 4 parasites were still alive. The rest of the parasites are alerted and start handling him. Then the teacher says to the mayor, "If I disallowed you that you would not send parasites to end Shinichi and spy, then why did you do so?" Here, the mayor notices that the teacher was developing the feelings of human beings after being a mother. He disgusts it and sends 3 parasites to end the teacher. Being a parasite, she gets understanding as someone is coming to end her. Calling them to the car park, she ends their fight while fighting alone. Coming back to the house, she notices that her baby is missing. He finds a note there with the statement, "Come to bridge for a meeting, and your baby is in my custody." Actually, the spy who left that note wanted to take revenge on his dead daughter by taking the life of the teacher's baby. That teacher moves there in confusion with Shinichi. Shinichi tells the spy, "You will get nothing after killing this baby. Because this baby belongs to the human species." Military officers also come there. They knew that the mayor had concealed many parasites in his building. Now they were sending the building people one by one. They were shooting the parasites among them after finding them. A serial killer was also present there. Then the mayor is shown delivering his speech. He says that humans are the true monsters, annihilating parasites for no reason. Then the present military officers target him and then the serial killer shouts, "He was a human being, just helping parasites." Turning back, they find the man who had 5 parasites in him. Everyone shoots him, but he does not suffer any harm. Then it is shown that the spy is about to throw that baby. Witnessing, the teacher has to transform into a parasite to save her baby. She thrusts her hand into the body of the spy. As a result, everyone knows that she is a parasite. The police started firing on her continuously. And she knew that she would be no more. She comes to hand her baby over to Shinichi. As she gives this responsibility to Shinichi, she immediately dies because she has received many gunshots. Here, Shinichi reminds himself of his own mother. And he develops human feelings. Now the police take Shinichi for interrogation. But it is reported that a man with 5 parasites killed the military officers. Then Shinichi drives to that place. But those parasites caused his accident, stopping him. He moves to the forest. He says to Migi, "He will detect me where I am until you are with me." He requests that Migi segregate from him. Meanwhile, that parasite comes there. He begins to attack him. Shinichi and Mig had befriended now. So Migi sacrifices itself, segregating itself from Shinichi's body. It asks Shinichi to run away from there. Migi is killed by that parasite. Being depressed about it, Shinichi moves to his friend's house. She takes care of him by heart. While lying, he immediately observes that his arm is generating one more part of Migi. It happened because Migi's essence had transferred into Shinichi's body after it had cured him. So it may be produced if he wants it. Shinichi knows that the parasite will again detect my location as it has generated it. So he leaves for the sake of his friend's life, saying goodbye. Going outside, he is caught by that parasite. Reaching a mill, he stabs a chemical earthing rod into his body. But he remains safe. He says, "What are you thinking about me? I will kill other human beings after killing you. And other parasites with me will dominate all over the world." He is almost killing Shinichi. Suddenly, Miji's hand is regenerated. It attacks that parasite. Meanwhile, there is trouble in his body, and he becomes irritated. Migi tells him that the rod had the multi-chemicals with which you stroked him. So all the parasites don't want to take hold of his body. All parasites leave his body one by one. Now only the skeleton was left behind. Shinichi throws it into the fire, which takes his life. After a long while, everything is shown routinely. Migi is saying to Shinichi, "No parasite has been left behind in this world. So we should not live together." I will be separated from you. But Shinichi does not agree. But Migi itself rooted it out. And Shinichi's real hand appears. And being sad, he begins to remember Migi. Now it is clear that much time has passed. Shinichi and his friend were leading a happy life. And they used to go to meet that teacher's baby. Suddenly, it is shown that the serial killer has come back. He captures Shinichi's friend. He whispers in her ear, "The real monster is a human being." But Shinichi's friend says to him, "The real monster is you. You kill the people." On it, that serial killer pushes her down from the building. But Shinichi suddenly goes there and rescues her, extending his hand. Here he realizes that Migi has helped him out. The movie's part 2 eventually ends here.